Talk the last story of the week, the last sort of segment, I guess, of the show.
Just run through the rugby news of the week, which has been our little kind of closing segment of the show for the last little while, and we're going to keep long may that continue. Because we're going to just run through what happened last week. We did build it up in the week before. Fiji won the Paris Sevens at the weekend, and more crucially the overall series.
And it was good. It was a shame that the semi-final was the final instead of the final, as it were. That they met the US. They met
the US, who were their contenders, and blew them away in a very impressive performance. Where the US looked nervy, Fiji looked assured. And
Madison Hughes had a shocker.
And Fiji deserved the win, and put a brilliant performance on in the final as well to nick to take the trophy on the weekend that was, which is right and proper, doing it with style and aplomb. And it means they set up well for the Olympic stuff.
Yeah, well, they're awesome colour to the series. And listen, the Olympics is great, but it's the first series they've won since 2016, and that's massively important.
It's important for their country,
good step back for Fiji. Delighted for them. Great step on for America
the
this
US,
year.
For sure, finishing second overall.
Big picture,
great.
There's a lot to be excited about over there.
New Zealand and South Africa still thereabouts. France looking better this year.
It's another glorious year of this glorious like one of the best products that World Rugby has produced. It's one of the best products in sport right now.
The sevens series, you can't beat it. It's great. Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon watching.
And these Fijian boys are stars, and they put on a show, and you just can't argue with it. And great to see Ireland going to be involved next year.
Yes, for
as
sure.
well.
Ireland finished bottom of the table with like 16 points or something, all gathered from a few little invitational things. But we'll get to see Ireland having a vested interest in the sevens next year. It'll be great.
Awesome.
The sevens wrapped up, which is cool, with the exception of the Olympic qualifier stuff, which is happening I think later this month or next month.
Say again?
The Olympic qualifier stuff, I think there are a few of them have to go through in Ireland.
That's right.
That's coming up, so that'll be the last of the sevens of consequence before the next year's series.
The other things that the Under-20 World Cup got underway.
Round 1 in the books. We watched one of the games, watched highlights.
As it turned out, it was the game of the week.
Yes, it was.
We did watch it for patriotic, partisan reasons.
Yes, Ireland and England played out what was a very funny game in many ways. And Ireland got the bonus point win, the 16-point win in the end. That was kind of crazy looking at the way the game was going, but England were determined to give us chances to do it, so we did.
The England Under-20s team was shocking. Actually, it was the game of the week in lots of ways, and obviously generated a lot of attention, but you weren't looking at the winner of the tournament. Ireland had their own poor problems, although they had some positives in Healy at 10 and a couple of other players. The 7 was outstanding. That's really what it's all about, is finding those young players. But just the England team's discipline was crazy. And from a lot of these young players, obviously the red card,
two yellows and a red,
all
of them
warranted, and a try conceded when they just allowed the ball to
roll
at the base of a ruck, and
no knowledge of the laws seemingly,
just really rudderless and all over the place. And when they actually
with focused super athletes, they did score that wonder try when they were down to 14 men, when coast to coast and scored an absolute brilliant try.
They could play a little bit, but they just
collective stupidity of it
all. Maybe at this level, immaturity for the tournament that's in it is a little more forgivable, but it was a decidedly English picture of penalties and yellow cards and red cards, and
the red card especially was bafflingly stupid the way he gave it away, needless and tide turning.
Honestly, a better team than Ireland, and the fact that they just ended up copying a massive 16-point loss. A big picture, it doesn't matter, you're scouting for talent, but it's just not a good look for English rugby and where it is. As negative a picture as an under-20 team can paint for a nation, really.
For sure. In other news, Wales beat the hosts, Argentina, as well.
Awesome.
Right, well done to them. Wales youngsters are always dangerous as well. In that group, in the same group as Ireland, Australia kind of put poor Italy to the sword. Italy are pretty good at this level, but Australia actually beat New Zealand earlier in the year in the under-20s level as well. They have a mind to do something in this tournament. Look pretty good. South Africa and New Zealand assuredly beating Scotland and Georgia respectively.
Yeah, Georgia respectively.
Which
Georgia, that's another tough group for Georgia. Fiji, New Zealand and South Africa
in the same group. It's pretty dismal prospects. Is South Africa? And it's only like 5-day turnarounds in this tournament as well. Oh, it's not good. No. It's not good. France did for Fiji.
France did for
Fiji. Making amends
Fiji.
for their seniors team last year.
Yeah.
Got the job done. And was there another game?
No, that's it.
So it means, I think, sitting top of the groups, if memory serves, is New Zealand, Australia, and France. I suspect.
Would it be France or would it be... Yes, it would be France.
I think it's France. Yeah. And then in second is South Africa, Ireland, and Wales.
Yes.
So they're the ones with wins to their name. And the next round of games gets underway on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, where South Africa play Georgia. Obviously, rough one for Georgia. Australia, Ireland.
Good game.
Good game. We're obviously hoping for the Irish boys to do something. We'd love to see Healy given a proper go at 10.
Yeah, for sure.
That was very exciting, obviously, to see a 10 come off the bench and do that with 26 on his back.
Yes, mad.
France v Wales deciding for that group.
Yeah.
Like, there's a cool thing about the under-20 championships is you get straight to the business end. Really.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, pretty much. It's just the system of the groups. It's actually it is a great tournament, to be fair, and it's worth watching a few of these games. That one being one of them.
The hosts get to rescue something against Fiji. That's a must-win.
It's a good game. Argentina, Fiji. I expect some running rugby. Yeah, probably. Yes.
Scotland get the privilege of being smacked around by the Baby Blacks.
Yes.
And England play Italy, and that's those games for this week.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's exciting fixtures in that. A few of the head-to-heads from the leaders of each pool. So that's pretty positive. I will be watching. I would encourage anyone to do the same. It's a really, really good tournament. And as you say, most important thing is that you're just getting an eye on these potential stars of the future, these like classy players at underage. Yeah. Always paint a good picture because it's slightly looser. You can kind of see some talent kind of shine in that when they have that kind of space and time. So definitely well worth the watch. And then there were a few other headlines just throughout the week. One of the ones was Gatland. Warren Gatland was confirmed to be coaching the Babas in the first game after the World Cup, which is going to be on November 30th in the Principal Millennium Stadium in Cardiff against Wayne Pivac's Wales. The new Wales will be facing them, Warren, in a fun soap operatic little game.
It'll be weird if they have a terrible World Cup.
That will be weird
because it's such a festive sort of game to put on as sort of after our World. Like it'll be a showcase after they win the World Cup if that's the way it goes.
Yes.
But if they get knocked out in the quarterfinal or something, it'll be like nobody will be up for that.
Yeah, it'll be a depressing little thing, and then they may end up losing it, which would be even worse way to end it.
Yeah, but Gatland may not. Like it'll be all kinds of strange. But I guess the idea is that it'll give them a proper chance to say goodbye to Gatland in their home
stadium. That which I get, and to be fair, like what a tenure he's had at Wales. So it's kind of
that's good. It's probably going to be a good little thing, assuming it goes well for them in the World Cup.
This is it. That's the caveat.
Yeah, then huge news coming out of Australia, and kind of shocking news that for the time being anyway, they're saying that they're not going to pick Will Skelton.
Yes, that the Gitto law won't be relaxed because he doesn't have 60 caps.
So strange.
So they need to apply the rule.
The arbitrary rule that you made up so Gitto could go to the World Cup is now doctrine.
Yes. The Gitto law. It is doctrine. It's the Gitto law.
Oh, it's just so stupid. I just don't get that at all.
Well, they're not the only ones who have the 60. I think Wales have the same. It's 60 caps for any Welsh player living abroad. It was
designed so they could get Gitto back. I mean, it's
Gitto on the plane.
It's just
Gitto and Drew Mitchell.
Yeah, that's right. And Drew Mitchell had almost as good a World Cup, if not better.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. You can't be leaving out Drew.
Yeah, indeed. He was fairly seminal in all of that great run they had last time. But I'm inclined to agree with you.
They need to have Scott Fardy and Will Skelton.
Scott Fardy may qualify.
He may, but he's not going home anyway. But I got to know what the crack is.
Well, he may come for the World Cup.
They should call up Scott Fardy. They should call up Will Skelton, and they have an actual second row.
They would. It would be great. But instead, we're going to look at Ned Hannigan in the World Cup.
Very strange.
Yeah,
very strange. Let's see. Feels like a very weird decision. Like they don't want to lose young talent. It's a big picture thing, but I think you're losing it anyway. I mean, it's just. Yeah, it like in terms
he's playing really well for Sarries, and he's in shape for the first time in his career. He wasn't as in shape in Super Rugby as he is now.
Yeah, it's a massive on-field loss. And listen, if you think that the allure of the Wallabies Test jersey is grabbing enough that it's preventing players from going overseas, I just don't know. I think you can be. You're okay saying sort of you can go abroad, and then we can still pick you if you're as good as Will Skelton has been
for the World Cup. If you're as good as well, maybe like apply the law uniformly throughout the Rugby Championship in the off years and stuff. I would stick to it then, because like their Super Rugby sides are struggling, and they are struggling for eyeballs with. Yeah, like they have their Aussie rules football over there. They have NRL over there. Yeah. So they have a lot of like different sports pulling away. So they need their superstars in their club franchises. I get.
Yeah, it's definitely more nuanced than I'm making it. But it's just from a rugby based perspective, they're struggling so much for talent in that particular area.
For Australia more so than New Zealand, and New Zealand can stick to what they're doing, and I wouldn't change anything about what New Zealand are doing on a systematic kind of scale, but. For Australia, I do think bending the rules come World Cup time, given all the talk we've had over the last 2 years. It did, and also just the lack of, I wouldn't say lack of depth. Like they're actually this year in Super Rugby have shown a bit more depth than last year. Last year was where we were very dooming Australia's prospects in general. But even still, when they're pooling all their resources for a World Cup run, they should use all their best weapons available to them, and Will Skelton is definitely that. It's just
where their test team is at. They need to prioritise making them. This is where I ultimately reason out my argument and say, like, that a high priority needs to be getting their test team as good as possible, because that is where everything else comes from in terms of eyeballs and fans and everything else. That's where the revenue comes from. If you have a good Wallabies outfit, you have an interested public when it comes to rugby union, and if you don't, you don't. It's
true. It's true. It's a knock-on effect. It's a chicken and egg situation. They need to get one first before the other. But it seems a strange call. But they announced that anyway. There's obviously room for them to renege on that or go back. But as of this week,
it'd be a weird announcement if they decide to renege on it. Why would you announce that?
It's true. I know. Anyway, in other news, Munster, good news. Signing Graham Rowntree, nicking him from the Georgians. The Georgians will be aggrieved at that. But
that's a massive loss for Georgia. Yeah. Rowntree had the in with the English camp for them,
getting them all. Scrum,
getting them into training, getting them over to England and training. I think he's done a lot of good over in Georgia. I think their pack has developed a bit more sophistication in his tenure and has become really top class. Yeah. Like they move around the pitch a bit better. Their hands are a bit better. They think about the game a bit more, and they're still as brute and bullish as ever. They defend very well. Like their whole pack is set up very nicely, and their set piece is still really strong.
They still just need a
10. It's his wheelhouse. It's a big blow for Georgia to lose. I'm sure they didn't want to lose him.
But Georgia's loss is most assuredly Munster's gain
for sure.
Because that's a really good signing this side of the World Cup as well. Like can't be understated how tricky of a time it is to lose two coaches and like the bulk of your coaching ticket just this side of the World Cup.
It does have the factor that they're going to have to wait till November.
It does, obviously.
Well, maybe October if Georgia are going.
If Georgia potentially, So like it's wisdom in that sense as well. They're going with a tier 2 side, but obviously a tier 1 elite coach who's proven and tested, and also is in keeping his
knows Munster,
has been to Munster, but his hard-nosedness and his kind of approach to the game is very much in keeping with and on theme with Munster and the way they play it. So I think it's just a really stellar signing.
Big question that's left for them there. That's like a good head to bring in, and maybe he could take some of the conditioning that Flannery was doing. And then Johan van Graan has the capacity to step back a little bit, maybe look at the backs a bit himself, but bring in another new head to look after the backs or the attack, maybe in cahoots and with van Graan, but not just they can't be the only signing. They need a new backs coach.
They do still, but that's still step one, and it's very good, very positive news. In other signing news, then we know was it Odogwu, Coventry born lad, high flying winger, classy like finisher, has signed for Wasps, which is good. He's Coventry, he's a local boy. It's like Wasps definitely need a bit more of that. That's what I'm thinking. Like however it goes for him, hopefully it goes well. And like a high flying finishing winger is something that's in the Wasps DNA anyway. But they need a bit, like they've been buying so many mercenaries, and then obviously even the Menachai Fikatawa stuff and all of this stuff, and like they need a bit more of a kind of hometown identity that they just don't seem
you see,
to
we
have.
just watched Invincibles with Mark Wahlberg, where he joins the Eagles, and he's a local guy, and it gives them a bit of heart, and I think Shane just...
It's weighing on the mind, but it's also, it was a news story here, but I'm looking at Wasps, though.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what are Wasps missing? When you
They're
think
like
back
the
to
70s Eagles, man.
Well, yeah, but like you're thinking back to, obviously, Delalio, who's in commentary a lot of the time for their European campaign, is just like tearing his hair out and seeming so weary with it, watching
his
them get
hair.
well, yeah, he's already teared it out.
Yeah.
But he's just weary looking at them, because in his, like, he was part of that champion Wasp side from yesteryear that seems a very distant memory now, because even in the time since then they've had the very high flying, flashing Christian Wade kind of era of
that
Wasps.
was a good buzz.
That was a great buzz when they had him and Varndell on either wing. They were grabbing tries.
There was an identity.
Yeah, there was a very much an attacking identity. They found tries against any team.
Yeah,
they were outclassed sometimes, but no matter what team, they found tries.
Christian Wade on his day, man.
Yeah,
serious player.
Exactly. But this new era Wasps, and poor Dai Young looks so depressed with it, and the Rico, half empty Rico always looks
just
bad.
Goofy Southern Hemisphere signing after goofy Southern Hemisphere signing, and that's the only thing they've had going. So maybe a local born lad does give them a bit of that.
Yeah.
They do still ultimately, for improvement's sake, need like you're talking about a Delalio like figure in the pack.
for sure. Like it's not. I'm not suggesting it's the problem solved, but I think it's an encouraging signing. It's a good little story anyway. But I'm hopeful for them anyway. I do like Wasps traditionally, and I want them to be better than they've been showing the last few years.
For sure.
And then otherwise, Bath signed Rory McConaughey. Who's McConaughey,
is
former Sevens lad, done really well for them this year.
It made some people's Premiership Team of the Year. He's been very good,
really good this year. Not a lot. It's tough enough for a lot of people. Don't do well when they switch codes like that, and seven skills don't always translate. So it's
a good signing for Bath. Helps them along, and it kind of closes out the Premiership news. There's one story that's obviously gone massive in Ireland about Leinster. I don't even know how much I want to talk about it, but it's there was a sort of a post-match incident involving the Leinster players. Two incidents. I think the Leinster players, after beating Glasgow last week, had a mad night out on the Sunday, including some of the 2009 stars, because it was the 2009 10-year anniversary of the 2009 Heineken Cup. So there's obviously just a mad, ridiculous session going on with a load of boys, and ended up with two incidents, one of which where who's now named, do we now know that's public, is it?
I don't know if it's confirmed.
Yeah, so one player hit another player, one of the old 2009 players hit an academy lad in the head, knocked him out,
had to be hospitalised. It's all very not good.
And then another player apparently
allegedly peed on someone,
and had to be brought home in a taxi, and it's all very unsavoury behaviour. But it's making massive news at the moment, and Leinster have to look into it and discipline it and make sure it doesn't happen again. But at the same time, it's not like this stuff hasn't happened in every rugby tour ever.
Yeah, well, like boys will be boys is one mantra you want to lead to, but it's not. It's like, but it does happen. To think that it doesn't is naive, and just this is kind of one of those stories that just highlights how you're not going to get away with that stuff much longer in this day and age, and we've already learned that lesson.
Yeah,
it's like this kind
this
of
is the world of technology and everything else, and that's the point. Is that like if you get up to some like what goes on tour stays on the tour is just gone. Yeah, it's just not true anymore. What you do on a night out now, like
sure, ask Aaron Smith.
Ask anybody. Like the people find out, everybody finds out. So a lesson learned, hopefully, for Leinster without too much damage done.
Hopefully,
and a slap on the wrists all around
for everyone involved,
and a little sour note to end what was a very good season for them.
For sure, yeah. And then other kind of similar news like that, there was discipline for one player in particular, for a Hurricanes player, for similar kind of antics, Hurricanes player, similar kind of antics. I won't comment on it much more, but it was also unsavoury silliness, and yes, he got duly punished once the internal investigation was done, right and proper. Enough said. There was other kind of vagaries. There was speculation about Alan Wynne-Jones, because obviously his contract is up after the World Cup.
Still no news on that.
No news on it really, but I think there were some Leicester Tiger fans were postulating that maybe he'd come there. That seems maybe more like wishful thinking than actually anything tangible. But it could be France, it could be Japan is another line of thinking.
Good for him to get a payday.
He deserves one for sure.
I just wonder how much longer is left in the legs.
For sure. Well, like the Premiership may not be the best option if that's the case. Like Japan seems like a more Like, he'd be a giant over there. He'd be lovely.
Yeah.
He'd be beloved.
Yeah.
But we don't know. But that's just been growing rumours about that.
Expecting news there?
No, I don't know if we are, but it was just one that was kind of making headlines of sorts. Right. And then the other one was in New Zealand, Rugby chief executive Steve Chew, after 12 years in charge, resigns. Tenure, which we didn't know much about him, but it's obviously 12 years in a head role in the All Blacks.
Yeah.
I can think of a fair few class things that have happened in those 12 years, so fair play to him. He's done a great job.
Yeah.
Still a pretty stellar organisation in the rugby world.
The Mick Dawson job over there.
I think so, yeah. So
very good.
Like, fair play to him, and hope he has a very fruitful and happy retirement. And I think there were one or two articles elsewhere as well. Were there other transfer news?
I think we're... Unless you're thinking of something in particular.
No. I think I mentioned it earlier. There was obviously Crotty's making his 150th appearance for Crusaders, and there's the 100th start of Piranara and Barrett.
Yeah,
that's all fine. We said that earlier on.
Yeah.
I think that's our news.
It is.
That's all the rugby news, and therefore the podcast.
Thanks for watching the Overlap Rugby podcast. If you want to subscribe, there should be a button up here. Don't forget to give us a like and share with your friends, and please leave comments down below. We love the conversation. Thanks.